This chapter deals with a very important aspect of Aqidah, and that is the issue of Iman and Kufr, which a lot of the Muslims have great misconceptions in. And we know that Iman is something that is believed in the heart, said by the tongue, acted upon by the body or the limbs, and that it is increases and decreases, as it is the methodology or the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And a great deal of sects and cults went astray because of this concept that they did not understand. And just to highlight how important this is, it's sufficient to remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he stated that my ummah will be divided into 73 sects. All of it, or all of them, are in hell except one. And there are a number of narrations. This one is the Jama'ah. This one is whoever follows my footsteps and those of my companions. So it is important to learn your Aqidah so that you're not one of the 72 who are bound in hell. And these 72 sects are not in hell due to the fact that they have difference of opinion in issues of Aqidah, whether touching the opposite gender nullifies your wudu or not, whether I have to put my hands on the chest or under my belly button, my navel, when I'm praying. No. These are, compared to what we're discussing, are trivial issues. They don't consist a lot of weight that would put a person in hell or not. So it is important that we understand the concept of Aqidah, the concept of Iman and Kufr, disbelief, the types of disbelief, because this is, at the end of the day, what will be the measurement tool to whether you enter Jannah or not, of course, after the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. So the author says, belief and disbelief are cases that are determined by Allah alone. And this is understood. Again, this is part of the Aqidah. The issue of judging things. It's not up to your intellect or mine. How do we judge things in Islam? This is known as at-tahsin wa taqbih, which means that saying something is good or something is bad. Who determines this in Islam? Some, like the Mu'tazila, say our intellect, our brains, they tell us what's good and what's bad. And this is totally wrong. And this is why the Mu'tazila is one of the 72 sects who are not part of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, those who follow the Salaf, those who are upon the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, determine what is good and what is bad, what's beautiful and what's ugly, through the Shara', through the Sharia, through the Quran and the Sunnah. So it's not up to me to decide whether this is good or bad in Islamic terms, unless I refer to the Quran and Sunnah. Yes, if I were to look at an object. This is ugly, or this is beautiful. It's an object. It has nothing to do with Islam. But once I say that this is the siwak that the Prophet recommended ﷺ before every salat and before wudu, and had he not feared to burden his ummah, he would have instructed them to do it at every time they make wudu. Now this becomes a religious symbol. You cannot criticize this. You cannot, as I say, can't touch that. So you have to refrain. Likewise, if it were for my logic and yours, the people in Europe, their logic differs from the people in India. And the people in India's logic differ from the people in the Middle East. And those in the Middle East differ from those who are more conservative elsewhere. So how do we determine? It has to be through the Quran and the Sunnah. Because Allah says, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ, whenever you dispute over an issue, return it back to Allah and to the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning return it to the Quran and to the Sunnah. So now we come to the issue of belief and disbelief. These are cases that are determined by Allah alone. So it's part of the religion. I don't have the power. And this happens a lot when people come to me and say, Sheikh, a man raped a woman, killed a child, stole money, made a whole village become poisoned and die due to the things he put in the well of that village. Is he a Muslim? What would I say? He did heinous crimes. But to take him out of the fold of Islam is not up to me. It is only in Allah's hands to take people out of the fold of Islam. And we have a process to do that. So we have to be in accordance to the Quran and Sunnah when it comes to issues of great importance such as belief and disbelief. No one may be called an unbeliever without clear evidence from Allah. Evidence. See, calling people to be disbelievers is an issue of doubt. And there is a very, very strong and beautiful maxim, a legal maxim. It's an Islamic rule, fiqhi rule. It states that certainty is not affected by doubt. Very easy. But if you implement it to everything you see and get in contact with, it would make your life much, much easier. Those who whisper, did I make wudu or not? Is this najasa or not? I have to wash myself for a whole hour after urinating just to make sure that I'm pure. If they've implemented this rule, they would not have had any problem. Sheikh, is my wife divorced or not? Akhi, what is certain? That we married 20 years ago. Are you sure? Yes, I have proof, I have evidences, I have witnesses. Okay. What about your divorce? He says, I don't know. I think, perhaps, maybe. So I say, okay, is this doubtful or certain? He says, no, it's doubtful, but answer my question. Certain or doubtful? Said doubtful, said throw it in the dustbin. Certainty is not affected by doubts. Cascading this to all aspects of life, you'll have no whispers of shaitan, no OCD. Because we have rules. We're applying the rules that the Prophet ﷺ had given to us. So let us apply this to the issue of belief and disbelief. no one may be called an unbeliever, a disbeliever, a kafir, without clear evidence from Allah. What does that mean? It means I'm a Muslim by default. Do you agree? Everybody says, yeah, we've been hearing you preach Islam for the past like 20 years. We have videos, we have YouTube, and I've seen you pray and you say you're a Muslim, so the default is I'm a Muslim. The default, you are a Muslim. Your name is Abdullah or your name is Fatima. This is the default. When you come, you say Assalamu alaikum. This is an indication that you're a Muslim. No one may be called a kafir without a clear evidence from Allah. Now, if I get this idea that you're not a Muslim, why? I've seen him hang out with disbelievers. I saw him dance in a nightclub. I saw him celebrating New Year's. I saw him say to a Christian, Merry Christmas. So this is a clear indication to me that without doubt he is a kafir. I said, wait. Is this probable or 100% true? He said, I think it's 100%. I say, isn't there a possibility that he was just being nice to others, not knowing the ruling? Maybe he was weak, maybe he wanted to get lucky that night, so he is trying to act like them so that maybe, you never know. He says, this is possible, but most likely not. I said, Akhi, what you're saying, is it certain or doubtful? He said it's doubtful, but it's 99.9% certain. As long as there is this 0.01% of doubt, you have no right to breach the rule which states certainty is not affected by doubt. Your doubt cannot take that individual out of the fold of Islam. And this is the most extreme that we see all around us. When people say, the ruler of this country is a kafir. Oof. Have you ever met him? No. Have you ever interviewed him or interrogated him? No, I don't need to. He's a kafir. A'udhu billah. How do you take someone out of the fold of Islam like that? Because he did this, he did this, he did this. And all of these are not certainty. And we will come to this in more detail. But just to show you the magnitude of ignorance people are living in. So without evidence, we cannot take what's certain, which is Islam, and take a person out of its fold without another certain evidence. In their life on earth, people are divided into two categories: believers and unbelievers or disbelievers. This is how Allah Azza wa Jal divided people, either with us or without or against us. This is a true fact that no one can escape. You're either a Muslim or not. You're either a believer or a disbeliever. And the evidence behind this is in chapter 64, Surah Al-Taghabun. Allah Azza wa Jal says, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ فَمِنْكُمْ كَافِرٌ وَمِنْكُمْ مُؤْمِنٌ. It is He, Allah says in the Quran, who has created you, yet some of you are unbelievers and some do believe. Okay, Sheikh, I understand, but there is a category that is in between. And what is this category? There are the hypocrites. So how do you classify them? And what do you think about what they're doing? Well, hypocrisy is something that is internal. It is not something I can see. So in order to judge you as a hypocrite, I have to know what's in your heart. And this can only be done by Allah Azza wa Jal. No human being can do that. To the extent that the Prophet ﷺ had never executed or killed a hypocrite. Though there were so many during his lifetime, surrounding him in Medina, living with him, praying with him in the masjid. Allah told him that they are in the last level of hellfire, doomed for eternity in hell. Yet he never killed a single one. Why? Because we as Muslims, we're giving the Prophet ﷺ as a role model, and we follow his footsteps. He told us that we do not judge people according to their intentions and what is in their hearts. We don't have the authority to do this. We judge people by what they look, how they act and behave. So they're accountable for their behavior. What goes in their minds and what is in their hearts, this is something between them and Allah Azza wa Jal.